I'd like to call this meeting to order the select board on April 28th, 2025 at 4 o'clock. Additions and deletions to the agenda.
Yeah, I'd like to add two, both under votes. One is to change the May meeting. The second is to add a grant for Echo Markets through the EDC open business grant they had, our front store.
Okay. Citizens' comments. Managers report.
Oh, it's on here. We're buying a water company.
Okay.
So it is official Wednesday, 3 p.m. here at Town Hall. I'll be sending an email out later today or tomorrow morning to kind of invite again any organization or person that played a positive impact in this. So hopefully we'll have a good time on Wednesday.
Great. Okay, first up is the vote for the pre-closing water system documents.
Yeah, so the chair in front of them has a motion to make. The only thing to add, if the board's okay, the motion will authorize either the select chair, Ray Bourgeois, or the town manager, myself, to execute any and all documents. So if the board is okay with that, or if they would like someone else to be the designee, that's fine. So it's up to the board whose names you want there.
Okay.
I'm fine by me.
Okay. All right, so I'd like a motion to approve the town's acceptance of sustainability of all of the assets of Woodstock Aqueduct Company Incorporated, WAC, including approval of 4 warranty deeds for WAC's real estate related improvements and water system infrastructure. The bill of sale for all its personal property, including vehicles, equipment, and other machinery, and all other related business and financial assets as set forth in the March 18th, 2025 asset purchase agreement. To waive any recording fees associated with the transaction and to authorize select chair Ray Bourgeois and our town manager Eric Duffy to execute any and all documents needed or advisable to close on the acquisition of the water system. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, next is, because of the confusion when we voted on the flower baskets and holiday lights, I thought it best that we revisit that and vote. I'd like to motion to pay for the flower baskets, holiday lights this year through the economic funds. And part of that motion to have the municipality work on coming up with a plan to fund those in the future. Is there a motion?
Yeah, Ray, I just want to clarify that this is because we already set the budget for this year.
Right.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So I'll make the motion.
For a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Vote on town forest contract.
Yeah, so the Woodward license agreement expires next year. The operator, due to the expenses associated with kind of doing this work, want to make sure the contract will be extended going forward. So this is a 10-year contract that the board has seen already. That would continue with the same vendor going in and tapping the trees as they've been doing for the last 10 years. And we added language where they would be willing to help or pay for any damage to the road going in and out. And also going to pay for electricity as well, I believe.
Good. Any questions? Okay. Is there a vote to approve the town forest contract?
A motion.
Motion.
Make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, short-term rental software contract.
We're flying through this.
I could slow it down if you like.
No, please don't.
It's nice out.
So just for some context, last year, as both the town and village were considering a new short-term rental ordinance, We also, entered an agreement to get software to kind of help track short-term rentals, see who's in violation, be able to kind of get people, to follow the rules. We've been using that software now for just under a year. Emily's been with us now for a few months. One of the goals from the select board was to be more efficient, effective government. So she took it upon herself to look at other options for software. She's with us today with a recommendation for a new software that she thinks will be better than what we currently use. So with that, I'll turn it over to Emily.
Thank you.
Just say your name for the record.
Hi, I'm Emily Collins. I'm the short-term rental officer for the village, and I found Deckard Technologies platform to be more user-friendly for staff and applicants. I think on our end, it'll be a lot more efficient to be able to see the properties divided between the town and the village, and also with our zoning district overlay. On the applicant side, they're able to register themselves. In the current system, there's this sort of two-part system where we have to approve them and send them codes, and it's just a little bit time intensive and inconvenient for the applicant. So about a third of the cost. And I've spoken with some other towns that use the software, and they all have positive reviews.
Any questions?
And Emily, so this does the same work the current one does, but more user-friendly, better, cheaper, less expensive, yeah.
Yes, it's the same concept of scrubbing to identify properties and finding the online advertisements and then keeping track of the registrants.
And we're gonna just do it for a year. Is there a motion to approve the new software from Deckard Technologies?
So
So
moved.
moved. Oh,
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
There you go.
Okay, Emily.
Thank you.
So just two quick things. One, the trustees are meeting Thursday morning for a similar vote. And if that's successful, we'll terminate our contract with the current one for July 1. Start with Deckard after that. Second, I just want to thank Emily and also Molly in their department. They've been able for just a few months. They're both doing a great job trying to find ways to be more efficient, more effective, and also just bring in a whole new energy to the department. So thank you very much. That's all I have.
Okay, the grant for the Eco Market.
Yep, so you see in your packets. Trying to find where it is, and near the end. Echo Markets, through the EDC's front store grant system has applied for a grant. You have all the information in front of you. Typically, these flow through the EDC and then came from the select board for a recommendation. So it's still kind of the same process here.
That's the one that just opened up on Elm Street.
I believe it's across the street. They're gonna, I take the open storefronts on the other side of the street.
Not where Focus used to be then. Not where Focus used to be, in a yellow building.
No, right across the street, next to Unicorn and
Okay,
all those stores, yeah.
There's a two months worth of.
they're moving from one storefront to another.
I'm not sure if they're moving or if they're doing a second store. I don't know.
it doesn't look like they're doing a second store. It just looks like they're applying for what they've already leased.
Okay, so this is for the current location.
That's how I'm reading it. Maybe I'm wrong, but this looks like they're applying for their current location.
That's what I thought.
Okay, then I was wrong, I apologize.
It's okay. Is it 2 months worth of rent or is it a fixed, used to be a fixed rate, I thought?
I
Yeah, I
believe
believe-
it's 2 months worth of rent, but it has to be leased for 12 consecutive months and that the EDC or that the Economic Development and Community Fund would pay for the first months and the 6 months or the 7 months. So it's like not consecutive months in a row, but it's like, hold on, let me see if I can pull it up.
Do we have a dollar amount?
It was 7,100, I believe.
Here it is. Eric, I can share my screen if you want me to show the criteria. Okay, so the storefront is located in a parking meter zone. It has been empty for more than 6 months. It's on the ground floor, or if on the second floor visible from the street, must be relocating from outside the parking meter zone. Has signed a 1-year lease or longer. Applicants who meet these criteria are eligible for financial support covering 2 months rent paid in month 1 and month 7 of the first 12-month lease period. And it says that they will award up to 3 grantees a year. So I guess my questions are, I feel like
Has it been empty for 6 months?
that I don't know. So I think 2 questions, maybe it's worth sending them this criteria and asking them if they meet it, Eric. And then also figuring out if the board wants to continue the storefront incentive program.
Yeah, I think we should table this till May. Because I'm not sure where they're located.
Okay.
They're in the
They don't-
old Sea Shepherd. They're in the old Sea Shepherd space, Ray.
So that has been empty for a while.
It, I feel like they've been there maybe almost a year. I guess I just like don't know for sure, but it's I think worth revisiting. I would like to, yeah, I mean, I think they're great and I would like to encourage them and certainly if they're eligible for the incentive, I'd like to give it to them. I just don't know if they meet all these criteria. And their application doesn't say if they do.
Yeah, I agree with Laura. In full support if they qualify.
Okay. So, we'll table this till the next meeting.
Sounds good.
Thank you. Change the May meeting.
Yeah, I'm going to be out of the country. I think our next meeting will be should be the 20th. And I will not be around. So I'm asking if the select board would entertain changing the meeting to another date or time.
Do you want to do later that week or the next week?
I'm out that whole week, so it would have to be the last week of May.
Okay. So Monday's Memorial Day. Could we do Wednesday? Or if you guys can do Tuesday, I can't do Tuesday, but if you guys can do Tuesday, I guess.
Well, I'd like to give him a chance to get his feet under him before we have a meeting and
Yeah.
follow over. We do Thursday?
I'm good
Mhm.
Thursday. Greg, you good Thursday?
Now, how long's the month of May go?
What time on Thursday?
I think the usual time,
Regular time, 6 o'clock,
And
Yeah.
and what's the date again?
29th.
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 Does that work for-
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Do we need a vote?
Yes, please.
Then is there a motion to reschedule the May 20th select board meeting to May 29th at 6 o'clock.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next up is discussion of the Wamba Trail Agreement on the Wendell Falls property.
Yeah, so someone from Wamba here to kind of discuss, again, just for some background. Wamba currently has an agreement for the trails they've created and maintained in the Vondell property. The select board has shown interest in having a similar agreement once we own the property Wednesday. A few board members sent me questions over the weekend about the proposed agreement. I sent those to Wamba last night. They were able to respond in some detail earlier today, but not in full detail. So this is an opportunity for the board to ask any questions if they can today. But also I think if the board is okay, we would ask to maybe have the board vote on Wednesday just to extend the current agreement they have with the Woodstock Aqueduct Company for the next month as we kind of fill out the agreement itself.
Okay.
With that being said, so I don't know if I'm kind of give a quick overview of Wamba.
Yeah, hello, my name is Seth Westbrook, co-founder of Wamba and current board member. We are, as you've heard before, a local organization that promotes access to the trails for multiple sports, primarily mountain biking, but hiking, running, walking, open to all non-motorized uses. We have about 450 members. First year we were 45 members, and last year we ended at 450 or so members. So locals and visitors, people from around the state, come to enjoy all the trails we've created here. So we've had a great relationship with the Aqueduct Company since we started. They're very supportive of what we're doing out there, and even before we were an official organization. So happy to continue doing what we've been doing. And yeah, happy to answer any questions if there's anything I can answer. I don't know if I'll be able to give final clarity on everything. Obviously we need to discuss things on our end, but I can certainly clarify any questions.
Okay. So I'm gonna just go down a list that Eric sent you. That's okay.
That's fine, yeah.
And I did get an email from Matt Stout
Okay.
about an hour ago. So if I can maybe go through some of the answers too, and
Yeah,
we can kind of have a three-way conversation. So the first concern, the question the board had was about the 10-year agreement. So there's two answers to that. One is when they apply for grants through RTP, they require at least a 10-year term for those grants to be awarded. The second part is more just so if they're gonna go and do the work in April, they want to make sure the trail is gonna be there in 2 years. So it's kind of two fronts of grant, but also it's worth the time and effort knowing that the trails just won't go away, you know, within a short period of time.
And that language is in there, largely driven by some of the bigger grants that are out there. There's that requirement, but also our local sponsors, business sponsors, and all that want to know that, hey, if we're supporting you on this trail network in this club, that, you know, it's still gonna be an option there.
Then there's a lot of kind of just questions on language and whether we can use that. So things like using the word communicate about making trails, as in the select board wanted to be more permission or approval before they made a trail. Wamba says they'll consider that. You know, I don't know, Seth, if you have any extra information.
Yeah, I was just looking through the agreement. I probably won't be able to find it while I'm talking to you, but there is more specific language in there about okay, so section 3, obligations of the chapter. before, B, 3B. We have to examine the route with the landowner, confirm that it's acceptable. We have to get the permits.
Okay, so my concern was, was that the landowner shall allow section 2A to construct. Obviously, I didn't look at these other parts enough, but as long as there's some oversight by the town,
Oh, yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, there's, our process when we were working with the aqueducts was, and it's consistent with this document, but basically we would flag out a route, so we, scout out through the woods where we think it should go. We'll flag it, and then we'll go back and walk it. We walked it with, with folks from the aqueduct to make sure everything was okay. So we would do the same with someone from the town.
Good, thank you.
So just that, I think that was like one of the big issues which the board has, kind of what the language says and what the intent is, and just making sure we're all clear on what that means.
Yeah. Do you have any other answers or?
Yeah, I think, a lot of these, they'll say they consider, some of them were, along the lines of, if the town has to close the trail, and we don't know an example of why the town would have to close the trail, what that'd be necessary to, but, whether the town wants to reserve the rights for that ability or not is probably something we have to dig into a little more details on. And then if time frame on if something did close, and the only other real thing that I think was an issue, something that I included, and that was language around, normally most contracts, when the town signs them, there is some get out of jail free card issue where if you can terminate the contract within 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, without any kind of liability or hardship. That's obviously not included in this agreement. I think Wamba, if I speak for them, would be against that because similar to the 10-year thing, they want to make sure those things are there. I can't foresee a scenario where we would have to get out of the agreement. At the same time, this is taxpayers' property, so that we'll probably have some more conversation what that could look like. Those are kind of the big things fleshed out. The email, then talking to Greg, the snowmobile vast does not use these trails, so that's a separate issue. I don't know if there's anything else you want to add, Seth.
Yeah, just to chime in on that, I think, if there were language attached to that, say for like our failure to perform or something, right? Like our failure to uphold our end of the bargain, that could make sense. I think just a carte blanche get out of jail free is sort of like, well, why do we have the agreement in the whole?
Yeah.
To begin with. So I think if there was something like, hey, gross negligence, we were completely doing a terrible job or something like that, for like termination for cause, essentially, something like that might make more sense. As far as the closure, if you look at 2C, so you can, basically if there's forest management or land management, you can close off parts of the trails. We work together with the aqueduct on that, on all their timber harvests. So we'll walk it, figure out where their skid roads are going. If they can avoid trails, that's preferable, obviously, and they make an effort to do that. In cases where they haven't, we've just gone in and cleaned up afterwards. But we do have a back and forth and a communication about if we need to close areas for safety, and then we reach out to our members and close things off.
The only other two things that I think I see is the insurance, the amount of the insurance.
Yeah, they can get back us on that.
Okay, yep. And arbitration before going to court.
Yeah, I don't know. Is they no consider, I don't know why anyone would be against that.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think we'll talk about that, but I think
Okay.
that's straightforward enough.
Right. Then,
I got a couple questions.
go ahead.
So you guys do use the class 4 road at the
Yep.
same time as the snowmobiles are using it?
Yep.
Because that's something that Bass doesn't encourage, but it's been going on, you say?
Yeah, sure.
Kind of surprised to hear that, but,
Well, it's
so-
it's up to each landowner, you know, can determine, I think.
Yep. So do
We haven't
they,
had any issues.
do you guys stay off to the sides, or how does this
Yeah,
work? Is there any, I don't know if there's any speed limit signs for the snowmobiles up there, or anything warning about it?
I'm not sure either.
And you go the full length of the class 4 road?
Through the bundle.
Yeah.
All of. So, it hasn't been an issue. I mean, you can hear them coming and,
Yeah,
you know, step off.
I'm
to
not
the side.
against it, I'm just trying to get it clear, but
Yeah, and there's a lot of dog walkers out there too that,
Yeah.
on that section of trail. Typically, I mean, we like to ride the smaller trails.
Yeah.
So we've groomed, you know, our single track off that.
Yeah.
Class 4. So there might be a scenario where you ride up a little ways and then jump on the smaller trail.
that's what I
jump
had
back on.
envisioned that you guys did, but.
Yeah.
But
But
you,
you're not, it's rare that somebody's just riding up and down that
okay,
stretch. It's more like coming onto it, going
Yep.
onto another section, that kind of thing.
and do they ride at night?
We do, yeah. Really bright lights,
Okay,
so,
all right,
Any other questions?
So I think the board's okay, we'll, continue discussing between Walmart and the town, and then we'll have, the current agreement, for the board on Wednesday, and then we can just vote to extend that for a month, so we can kind of hash these things out, if that's okay.
Yeah, that works.
All right.
Thank you.
you're welcome. Yeah. Yeah, and feel free to reach out, you know, we're an email away, so,
Yeah.
phone call, so happy to answer any questions.
Great, thanks.
Great, look forward to it.
Any need for executive session?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Then a motion to adjourn.
make a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you.